News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
A fatal shooting at a local nightclub. Good morning, everyone. This is Montana Morning. It's Tuesday, September the 2nd, 2014. Before we get on with the news, I want to say thank you to John King and Bob Seiden-Schwartz for filling in while I was on vacation for the last week or so, and a very relaxing Labor Day weekend. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Right now, we have a clear sky, 42 degrees, and we are back in the saddle again. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Temp-Rite Service. Got any plumbing or pretty soon heating needs for that furnace ours kicked on over the weekend. Call Team Blue at 728-1111. Our top story this morning, Missoula police responded to a fatal shooting incident in the parking lot of the Fox Club Lounge early yesterday morning. I spoke with Public Information Officer Detective Sergeant Travis Welsh, who said the shooting occurred a little after 1 a.m.
Upon their arrival, they found an adult male suffering from a gunshot wound to the chest. Another adult male identified himself as a shooter and immediately surrendered himself and his weapon to the officers. Right now, we have an investigation that is ongoing. Witnesses are being interviewed. The suspect has cooperated with the investigation thus far. He has also been interviewed.
Welsh explained why no names have yet been released in that fatal shooting.
If that name is released, it would be by the coroner's office. And as far as the person who actually fired the weapon, that name wouldn't be released until such time that a person is actually charged with a crime, and then that name would be released through the court.
Missoula County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer Paige Pavolone says that the name of the victim could be released as early as later on this morning. Shreveport, Louisiana police say a 2-day manhunt brought the arrest of a 27-year-old man accused in Missoula of killing a homeless man. Corporal Marcus Hines says Kevin Joseph Lino was arrested Saturday after twice evading pursuers. Hines says tips helped police track Lino to woods near railroad tracks. Montana authorities have a warrant charging him with deliberate homicide in the homeless man's death. Hines says Lino reportedly has ties to northwest Louisiana. He's being held in the Caddo Parish Jail as a fugitive from Missoula. That's where 36-year-old Gilbert Berry was beaten and shot before his body was found in the Clark Fork River on August 6th. Hines said the killing apparently was in July. Co-defendant Kenneth Hickman, arrested in Missoula, has yet to enter a plea to aggravated assault. The U.S. Forest Service plans to move its Region 1 headquarters out of a building in downtown Missoula in favor of a location at Fort Missoula on the outskirts of town. The move saves the Forest Service an estimated $1.9 million in annual lease payments. Forest Service officials told the Missoulian they plan to put their money now budgeted for the building lease toward improving their existing offices at Fort Missoula. Montana officials say having the state take over management of federal lands is a complicated proposition, but they're looking into it. Governor Steve Bullock says he does not advocate that Montana takes over the roughly 25 million acres of federal land within the state's boundaries. However, Montana Republicans have endorsed such a move, and the Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation is now studying it. Department spokesman John Grassi says the more the agency looks at the idea, the more complicated it becomes. A source within the Missoula School District 1 has confirmed the principal and vice principal of Missoula Sentinel High School have been suspended for violating school policy. According to the source, who wishes to remain anonymous, a fellow Sentinel teacher observed Principal Tom Blakely and Vice Principal Libby Oliver engage in behavior that violated school board policy on August 11th. The teacher reported the incident to the Human Resources Department. School District 1 Superintendent Alex Apostle said late last night the two have been temporarily suspended from their duties at Sentinel High School.
Sentinel High School Principal Tom Blakely and Assistant Principal Libby Oliver have been suspended for violation of board policy. They have both been suspended for 5 days.
With school entering its second week now, Apostle addressed the issue of who would administrate Sentinel High School in light of those suspensions.
As per line of authority, Mr. Fortman, Sentinel's assistant principal, will be the primary contact during this suspension. During the suspension, we will provide the necessary administrative support to the building and beyond.
Apostle would not address the next steps in how the situation with Blakely and Oliver would be handled administratively, but would only say the two had violated Missoula County School Board policy. The annual Labor Day picnic was held yesterday at Missoula's Bonner Park. Organizer for the Missoula Central Labor Council with the AFL-CIO, Chad Bishop, says the picnic was an informal opportunity for those committed to the labor movement to share some fun, food, and music, and to promote ideas and projects for workers.
We have a lot of election activity coming up, as you know, so we're speaking about endorsed candidates that were endorsed by the Montana AFL-CIO. We're talking about county candidates that were endorsed, Amanda Curtis, right? And we're also getting people registered to vote.
Bishop also touted a new program for low-wage food workers in Missoula.
We have our information about our new program called Good Jobs Missoula, which is a non-union program. We're providing a platform to non-unionized low-wage workers in the city to begin affiliating together to discuss the issues that are most important to them in their work.
On November 29th, Black Friday of last year, Bishop and other union organizers staged a protest at Walmart, demanding that the company pay their workers what he termed a living wage. The 2014 general election is coming up in November. Missoula County officials are asking for more election judges to come forward for training. Elections assistant Marianne Lemons says there are 29 different polling places for 58 different districts that all need staffing.
We need about 600 people to staff everything correctly. We did a training in the spring. We were able to train about 400 and something. We need at least 200 more.
Lemons says there are 5 different training sessions that actually start tomorrow.
We have 5 different ones. They're on September 3rd, 4th, and 5th, so right after Labor Day. And we have a couple different ones. Everything is listed on our website at MissoulaVotes.com.
And there is a link to the county elections website on our story at NewstalkKGVO.com. Visitors are being asked to be cautious as the elk rut has begun in Yellowstone National Park. Park spokesman Al Nash says bull elk are much more aggressive toward people and vehicles this time of year. And visitors should keep a safe distance from the animals and look around corners before exiting buildings or walking around blind spots. Several vehicles are damaged by elk every year. People are occasionally charged and injured. And speaking of critters, thousands of sheep ran through the streets of tiny Reed Point during the annual Great Montana Sheep Drive. The festival Sunday also featured a hay bale race in which teams of 3 people competed to roll 1,200-pound hay bales up and down the street. The Billings Gazette reports the festival culminated in a thunderous stampede of running and leaping sheep down the main drag in Reed Point, a town of about 200 people midway between Billings and Bozeman. The sheep drive has been held since 1989. It was started in response to the Great Montana Cattle Drive, if you remember. News Talk time now is 6:10.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Ample sunshine today with our high temperatures topping out in the mid to upper 70s. Winds will be out of the southwest at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight with our lows in the mid 40s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13, your first alert station.